Picture this. It's near the end of your school term and you're just approaching the cusp of your summer holidays. In just a few days' time, or perhaps even a few hours' time, you've got a mental sort of list of things you're going to do when the summer holidays finally come around. You think to yourself, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a lot of songs. I'm going to compose a lot of songs on GarageBand or Logic. I'm going to complete the campaign mode of Call of Duty World at War on Veteran. Fuck me, man, I never did that. And I never even made a promise to at any point because I knew it was too damn hard. But, or I'm gonna complete my Pokédex on Pokemon Emerald. It can be a range of different things. Essentially, you're making a list of promises to yourself that you know you will only fulfill once you have unlimited leisure time to yourself, and you no longer need to worry about the school timetable. This is just one specific example of what I'm talking about, and I'm sure lots of people can relate to this. And then you have the last day of term and you head straight home, and the first day of the summer holidays come along, and then the next week, and then a week goes by, and then the next week, and suddenly all those promises that you made to yourself, that list of things that you saw that you would do, they don't feel very important anymore. You seem uninterested in taking care of them. It's like the present moment has brought a blissful kind of apathy where you just want to live for the day and enjoy your leisure time without being bound by contractual obligations made from the past, back when you were slogging through schoolwork. Next thing you know, a month goes by, and a month after that, and before you know it, it's the beginning of next year's autumn semester. And you did some of it, or you did none of it. But basically, what I'm describing is a phenomenon that I know that I've experienced multiple times. And it doesn't have to be, for instance, it doesn't have to be this whole summer holidays thing. It can be anything. It could be a half-term holidays. It could be winter, or it could just be a weekend that you've got off work. I'm essentially what the phenomenon I'm describing. It's one where you have an upcoming finite period of leisure time to yourself, a brief respite from all the drudgery of work or school or studying, whatever it is, where you can commit yourself to doing what you love or what you enjoy in a way that you wouldn't be able to otherwise, and you make it into a kind of sport where there's a list of things that you set out to achieve and then you never do. And I think this is fascinating. I don't know if there's a word for it. People often talk about procrastination. That's certainly, procrastination is definitely an interesting phenomenon, but this video is not specifically about that, although it is related, mind. So first we need to talk about procrastination and what causes it. So what is procrastination? It comes, forgive me, this is the nerdy part of me that enjoys, looking up words in the dictionary and word etymologies and all that. Procrastination comes from the Latin pro, meaning for or towards, and cras, meaning tomorrow. So procrastination is the act of putting things off for tomorrow. It's a very common phenomenon. Everyone does it on some level, though I'd say some people have a greater weakness to it than others. But it's caused by anxiety. It's when you dread an uncertain future, or something is eating away at you, and rather than confront the problem directly or head on, you'd rather fall into a catatonic trance where you immerse yourself in mundane daily behaviors that occupy less of your less mental resources to solve, or you know, you don't, rather than focus and muster energy on cogitation, on trying to work out a practical solution to what it is that's eating away at you, you'd rather immerse yourself in daily pleasures. Or sometimes not even that, but just things that are there to distract you. Because I think a lot of the time, even people who procrastinate don't do it willingly. They don't enjoy what it is that's taking up so much of their time. How many people would happily describe themselves as doom scrollers? Why do you think it's called doom scrolling? Do people get a psychological kick out of scrolling the internet, even when they have no clue while they're doing it? Of course they don't, because it has all the same signs. It's symptomatic of addiction. In the same way that, you know, alcoholics, they know that beer, that they know that they have to stay away from the alcohol, but they just can't help themselves. Doom scrolling is very much the same thing. And the underlying motivation, I'd argue, is one and the same. It's a persistent, unshakable fear. And I don't know if I might need to revisit this video later, because I might have changed my opinion, but I think a lot of it is to do with anxiety. That there's something in your life that you want to confront, but you haven't got the energy to challenge it, or you can't work out an easy solution. So rather than that, you would give in to your immediate impulses and just live for the day, and tomorrow may come, and the day after that, and the day after that. So that's procrastination. But what about the phenomenon that I just described earlier? Why do so many of us do it? Why do we make lists of things we're going to accomplish, and then we don't take the effort to follow through and fulfill the list of promises or pledges on those lists? It's like, what are they for? I think part of this is down to self-deception. There's a part of our brain, there's a part of the human mind that can't bear to face the reality that we will most likely not be able to check all those boxes, complete those lists, because if we did, then there'd be nothing left to strive for. And that's an important thing, now that I think about it. A lot of it is to do with pursuing meaning. What would you do if you'd accomplished or achieved every single thing you'd set out to do, and there was nothing left? Well, if you think about it, that would probably drive you insane. You'd probably have to go out of your own way to find other things to do. You'd have to invent some new hidden meaning that you didn't have before. Part of the reason why we stay alive, why we contend with life's hardships, is because we all strive for meaning. Setting ourselves arbitrary goals or targets is one way of attaining such meaning. And I think this partly explains why some of us take pleasure in setting goals that deep down a lot of us know we're never going to accomplish, because it gives us something to strive for, even if we have no real intention of following up on that goal and achieving it. I think there's something quite romantic in it. It's a bit like, I'd say it's the same kind of underlying psychological motivation of having all those books on a bookshelf that you're never actually going to read. It's nice to have them, but would you actually want to commit your time to reading them? Personally, I'm a slow reader. It takes me a month on average to get through one book. A book that's, around 300 pages. But I guess we like to collect things, and I think we like to have a satisfying backlog of tasks that could give us a sense of meaning or hope or optimism. Yes, I may not be able to achieve this now, but maybe some point in a theoretical future where I truly have unlimited leisure time and I don't need to worry about the drudgery of having to work a 9-to-5 job or having to submit assignments and get a passing grade. When I've accrued enough resources where I can truly do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I won't be molested by any other real life obligations like having like my brothers or sisters or my mum or dad barging into my room telling me you need to get a job or you need to mow the lawn or things like that, or not having a wife or children. I mean, that's assuming that you have one or that you have one in the first place. It's sort of, I suppose, it creates, it's an ill thought out but understandable method of inventing meaning. Supplying yourselves with meaningless tasks. I only say that they're meaningless, mind, because in a sense you know that you're probably never going to touch them. But it's a good way of keeping yourself goal oriented. And what do we live for if not goals? We want to have something that we could at least at some point reach out for. And I think that's why we do it. At least in my case, this explains why ever since I was 11 or 12 years old, ever since I was 11 years old, I have still to this day never completed Pokemon Emerald. I haven't completed the National Dex. I haven't gotten all gold symbols on the Battle Frontier. I mean, I've owned the game for so long and I've clocked so many hours that the internal batteries run dry. I got frustrated and I gave up sometime when I was 16 or 17, but I've kept making myself mental promises that at some point I'm going to go back, I'm going to revisit that game, and I'm going to seriously strategize and think of ways how I can complete the game. And then when I do, it'll be like a whole chapter of my life has been closed. But I've been thinking this way. I've been revisiting, this recurring promise since my late teens, and I'm 31 years old now. And I fear that come a decade, when I'm in my 40s, I'll probably be doing the same thing. What would I actually do if I did complete Pokemon Emerald? Would I just move on from there and go to Generation 4, then 5, then 6? Or what would I do if, I don't know, another example, and this is specifically about me, although I suppose it could apply to other people. All these ideas for songs that exist in my head but I haven't created yet, what would I do if I'd suddenly exhausted all the creative backlog of song ideas I have in my head and there's nothing left? I'd have nothing left to write. I'd have to actually sit down in a room, brainstorm, get a guitar and strum chords, and it would be frustrating. It would be infuriating. I'd probably never touch music ever again. I know that at least one of you out there has got to, on some level, resonate with the things that I'm saying. Why do we avoid confronting the future? Why do we avoid engaging ourselves in tasks that are meaningful to us and would give us some sense of satisfaction or closure once we complete them, if we complete them, but we choose not to? Because it's satisfying, or it's meaningful. In an ironic way, the practice of putting off or delaying meaningful tasks is itself meaningful because it keeps us goal-oriented in a way, and without goals, then our lives would be purposeless and we'd have to think of new things to do just to keep ourselves busy. And nobody wants to live a meaningless life. So anyway, I'd be interested to know what you guys think of my theory. Leave a comment and do subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed what I had to say, because I've got plenty more of these daily musings if you want. Anyway, this has been Tracking. You guys take care.